monetization things on. I can add all these different things. I can add goals. I can add highlighter counts. I can add timers, and I can do Q&As. I thought I could do all that anyways, but you know, I guess now we can do it more. Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a while. Today I'm doing we're doing some editing and some chatting today. I'm working on a video here, so I figure I might as well show you a little bit behind the scenes, catch up. It's been a while. I'm looking to catch up on what I missed, see what's going on in the Resolve community, and you know, talk about some stuff. You'll see I have audio scrubbing on. I'm going to turn audio scrubbing off for now. Currently, we're making a glitch effect. So, and it looks like perfect. I didn't even check my audio levels before I started streaming. So, thank God I had that correct. I had that set up correctly. Whew. That would have been a little bit of a concern. Yo, what's up, bro? Hey, I forget how. I know you're in the server. I forget how to pronounce your name. It's been so long. I just realized I'm getting old. I'm out of practice. I didn't post the link in the server so you guys could see it. 1 second. Let's me post the the link in the server at student of Resolve. There we go. We are live. Okay. Yeah, what's up? What's up? How you doing? How's it going? What have you been up to lately? I've been a little busy. I've been working on the entertainment side of YouTube, which is very, very different. Very, very different than education, which, I mean, you could have guessed, right? You could have guessed that the entertainment side would be different than the education side. But the way I've been describing it to people, because I've been trying to wrap my head around it, is I described education YouTube, right? Teaching Resolve and other stuff as you're like a university lecturer. You're up on a stage, so it's like, oh, everyone can see you. They got their chairs, they got their notes, whatever. You talk about whatever, and they're like, they know exactly why they're there. They want to learn some stuff, even if it's not, you know, the exact thing that they're looking for. They're like, I'm gonna learn some cool stuff here. And then when it becomes entertainment, nothing about the setting changes. So you're still up on a stage, still a crowd of people, but now you went from being a university lecturer to being a stand-up comedian, and now it's a comedy show. So it completely changes the dynamic, but I mean the setting's exactly the same. And so that's it. So doing like entertainment videos, this is a video I'm working on right now. Recently viral game called Pepper the Giant Purple Dog. But I've been explaining it, or I've been trying to wrap my head around it, because there's so many elements that feel so similar, that feel so familiar, but I'm having to like rethink about the way that I'm doing a lot of my cuts. I'm having to rethink about the way that I'm doing the intros, the way I'm doing the titles, the way I'm doing the thumbnails. Actually, I do have some interesting thumbnail stuff. We can get to that a little bit later in the stream, but I do have some interesting thumbnail stuff I want to show and share with you guys. There we go. I haven't had my coffee this morning, so yeah. Think more, better, you fiend. Think more. Okay, Menlo. Menlo's saying, think more, better, you fiend. Okay. But anyways, so right now I've got this intro sequence here that I want to do. We've got a whole bunch of shots scattered about from the game. And basically, the whole premise of this game is you get an old copy, a test copy of a 2002 video game. And if you're from that time period, the olden days, you probably have an idea about what I'm talking about. Like old computer games, like no shading, very odd looking graphics. Like your dog definitely didn't look like that. But you get this test copy of a video game, and something's not quite right with it. And so it presents itself very much as like a friendly video game, but obviously it's got a dark secret, you know. So that's that. Right now, I'm trying to make a visual effect to add in like the corruption of the game as we go through, because I'm gonna do a little trailer, like a mini trailer here, showcase some of the different elements that are spooky, and so I want to accentuate them to a degree. Let me move this up. I want to accentuate them to a degree without giving away what happens in the video, because, you know, we got to make things interesting. Yeah, how's everyone doing today in chat? I see we got 12 people in here. What the heck? How you guys doing? How's summer vacation? A lot of people are on summer vacation now, right? School's out. No longer are we sitting in class. Now we're sitting on YouTube. We're doing the real cool stuff. Yeah, let me show you guys how I did this first, because this is really cool. Now, let me get rid of this, I think. Was it this? Where's the part that has the thing? Here we go. Because even before we do anything, this is like, where's the sky for here? I'll just show like this side and this side. Actually, we'll show the objective part. Look, we've got like an old CRT effect going on, which is really, really cool. That's going to be like a slight, yo, what's good? What's going on? This is adding in a little bit more of that old feel right off the bat. If anyone ever played Mario on the original Nintendo Entertainment System, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, with that old feel where if you were like me as a kid and you would get really close to the TV and you were actually like, what's the TV made of? And you looked right at the TV, you would see like the R, the G, and the B. But this is about as close as we're gonna get right now. You have an exam tomorrow? What is your exam on? Because that changes the vibe completely about if you're like, oh no, I have an exam, or if you're like, hey, I have an exam, I'm excited. Yeah, so the actual like CRT effect is really cool. It's honestly simple how I made it, but I had to make it in a specific way so that I wouldn't end up with this weird warping screen door effect. And if you like, a screen door effect, for anyone who doesn't know, is, or I guess you could call it the window screen effect. If anyone's ever, you've been looking at a window and you're trying to focus on the thing that is beyond the window, whatever's outside, but your eyes keep accidentally focusing on the screen. Or if you have a camera and it autofocuses, it focuses on the screen, you would end up with like a weird kind of warping. You can, I guess, kind of see it when I zoom in and out here, but it gets much worse if I try to create this texture like procedurally. This is like a custom CRT texture that I made using a singular rectangle mask. We brought the soft edge up, and then we played with the corners and everything else. Right, white background, duplicate, so it's, you know, all moved together. Duplicate again. You can see we've got a little border. Not really worried about that though. Probability. How do you get an exam on probability? Like what what are the odds of success on an exam about probability? Let's see the results. So then we blur, because yeah, we're not worried about the lines very much. We blur it, and then we take a transform and we just zoom it down, setting the edges to wrap. So you can see how like this is super, super low. And it ends up doing this to, you can see the before and after. This is what it ends up doing to anything you apply it to. It's like my own little style here that I've made for doing like old old CRT effects. Kareem, what's good? It's been a while, man. How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I'm still alive. I've been very quiet in the DaVinci community. I've been jumping into the chats a little bit. I've been a little bit active in the emulator. However, I've been dedicating so much time to learning the entertainment side of YouTube. I want to be able to do both so that, you know, I'll be able to help people. Indeed, I'm great, mate. How are you? I'm doing well. I'm doing well, Kareem. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. I have a note somewhere. I'll see if I can like put some of the stuff in the server or something. Because there's so much. There's so much to learn about titles, thumbnails, the hooks, the intros, which I consider to be two different things. I consider the hook to be like the validation of the title thumbnail, and then the intro to be like the actual segue into the video, and then the actual video itself. As we go through this a little bit, I'll just kind of show you some of the stuff that I've been learning. Also, anyone who is doing anything in Resolve, this is something you absolutely need to see. If you are working with, if let's say you're on a lower end PC, or let's say you're on any PC, this is something you absolutely need in your life. You're noticing I have OBS open right now. I have Resolve open. I'm streaming. Look at how, let me turn off snapping. Look at how smooth the scrubbing is. This is 2 layers of footage. It's 1080p, but it's still 2 layers of footage. Yo, Euro, what's up? Whole lot of stuff to learn. Good luck, mate. Hell yeah, Kareem. Once I've learned like a whole bunch and I've got a foundation, I'll be jumping back into the Resolve chat to share like a ton of stuff, like everything that doesn't get shared on the streams, because there's so much. I could go on for hours. But look at how smooth this is with OBS and Resolve, 2 layers, 1080p footage. And you'll notice both of these. I record in MP4 format. That's what I record in. Actually, I should check my OBS settings to see what other file formats I can record in. Both of these are MOV, you're gonna notice. Now, I record my face cam using an actual camera. So like I have to take my SD card and I have to plug it into my computer, offload the footage, bring it onto my proper hard drive that I use for editing. And then with this is usually MP4. But if I go over to here and give it a second here, I found that Resolve 21, and this is just me, it could be different for other people. For some reason, when I'm jumping into the deliver page, it takes a while to jump, like to actually move over. Yeah, URL, what's good? What's going on, man? I haven't checked out the second part of your Zelios video. I wanna watch through it and see how you did some of the stuff. But so what I've done here, right? I've set this up. This is face cam. This is YouTube. This is like the custom export setting I have for when I upload to YouTube. However, we've got face cam, which I should just change to be like proxy media. Now, anyone who knows about Resolve knows you can generate proxy media, right? You can, like, it's something you can do. You can see I have all my normal media in here, which I technically don't need. And I technically don't need Purper Doggy, because we have Purple Doggy. So we got Purper Doggy, but okay, just making sure I've got all the stuff here. So we've got proxy media, generate proxy media, and we have generate optimized media. I've done some of the research into both of these. They both create wildly massive file sizes. I'm talking like a 500 gigabyte file. And I've had issues with both of them. And the whole purpose of using proxy media is, even though it's bigger, it's supposed to run smoother. It's supposed to run significantly smoother. But again, I've had issues with both. Partially because I'll have 2 hours of footage, and I'm like, okay, this is big file. I'm going to need a proxy for this because I'm going to be jumping back and forth, moving all the stuff around, whatever. Generating a optimized media is an older feature. It's nice though because you can run proxy on a subsection of the source page. Interesting. Pizza, also good to see you. Good to see you. It's been a while. What I have found is if I render my media out, so, and this is also nice because my face cam does not look like this. If I take my face cam right here, I've got a little face cam preset on it. So if I take my face cam and I go like this, this is what everything's looking like, right? Nope. This is what everything looks like. So, but you can see we've cleaned the whole thing up, we've brightened, we've done some touching to our skin tones, right? So everything's good. Let me just, there we go, get rid of that. Boom. But you're noticing it looks better. I don't have any kind of color grading on it, and it's because I rendered it out and baked it in. I baked the color grades directly into the footage. However, the format that we're using is QuickTime. We're using Avid DNxHR and then DNxHR HQ 12-bit. Oh, my headphones are about to die. And what I've learned, what I've gleaned from this, Pizza, you probably know a little bit about this. You might even know more than I know, is that this file format seems to be basically lossless. Yeah, destructive and generational loss. This one seems to be like pretty close to lossless. The file format is a fair amount larger. However, it's not nearly as large as the proxy and what's the word I'm looking for? It's not nearly as large as the proxy and the optimized media files. It's an Avid format. However, what I'm noticing is it is super smooth to scrub through. I don't know that I've ever had footage this. I don't think I've ever had footage that is this smooth. Bro, can you tell us how much time you spend on screen and how your eyes are fine? Do you know ways to save your eyes? Apple ProRes is good specifically for YouTube videos. Apple ProRes is better than I don't know if Apple ProRes, I don't know if I have that here. Or if, I don't know which one that would even be. So my eyes, I honestly couldn't tell you how my eyes are fine. I couldn't tell you, honestly. I would just, I guess, recommend, relaxing. Oh, it's in codec. Let me see. GoPro Cinef. Oh, Apple ProRes. There we go. So I guess you'd use Apple ProRes 422 proxy. Now, how big is ProRes LQ is probably what you want for proxy. Okay, so for reference, or I guess for context, Pizza, I straight up, modern has better GPU acceleration. So you're saying I can get even smoother. But when I talk about proxy, I'm literally just taking the footage, running it through the renderer so that it's exactly the same. However, what's the word I'm looking for? It's exactly the same, but this is, the MOVs are what I'm using in the final export, and it, compared to the original footage, it looks virtually the same. I don't have any money. That's if I can part to stop at. However, let me catch up on chat. Yeah, Apple ProRes. I'll have to experiment with it. I don't know how big is Apple ProRes in comparison to the DNX HR or whatever. Yeah, my eyes. I don't know how my eyes are fine. I've got 3 different monitors. This is basically what I do all day. If I'm not recording, I'm editing. If I'm not editing, then I'm recording. Or sometimes I'm here. You want to add proper proxies to avoid generational loss because the app can use the original footage in the final render. Okay. So basically, when I'm doing this, take the... the only thing with that... The only thing with that, Pizza, is for the face cam. I've got to bake in all the effects. I'll figure something else out. Anyways, in the meantime, this is working very, very well. And it's not like a loss to the point where as a viewer you're gonna experience a degradation in your video quality, in the quality of your experience. So for me, it's okay right now. I am definitely gonna check out Apple ProRes stuff though, because I've heard just use render cache for the effects. I have render cache. I typically turn it off though. I typically turn it off because, you know, like you're editing something like entertainment wise, you're like, okay, what does this look like this? Okay, make an adjustment, and then it's got to like render through again. You're like, okay, let's do this, right? So I find render cache a little bit annoying sometimes, because it'll what's the word? It'll like chunk my footage a little bit, and I just want to see it played back smoothly. And if I'm making multiple adjustments over and over and over, then it's not something that I would turn on until like the final render. Okay, so this is a little overlay that we're making. Set it to manual. Okay, yeah. I loved the Prime logo, VFX creation. It was insane. The Prime logo. Oh, okay. I was going to do a video on the creation of the Prime logo. We ended up being able to make it, but the final shading we just couldn't do. Let me see. Where is it? It would be it'd be Amazon. It would be Amazon Prime Video logos. Where did I put it? Anyways, so I was making the Amazon Prime logo. You probably don't want to drop the frames setting if you're using render cache. It makes it so it will always cache first time. Interesting. Yeah, I was making the Amazon Prime logo, and it was going really, really well. We had the shapes, we had the animation looking to a point where if you weren't expecting it to not be the Amazon Prime logo, you wouldn't even notice. You'd be like, oh yeah, it's Amazon Prime. The last step was the lighting, and that is where it got very, very difficult, to say the least. For the Amazon Prime logo, I made using S shapes, which is different than just like a normal ellipse, right? Here's an ellipse, here's an S ellipse. You're like, wow, this one just doesn't have a background, basically, but there's a lot more to these than meets the eye, and I was trying to, like, I can make custom shapes with this one. However, in 3D space, when you turn it into a 3D object, it's recognized as it's still recognized as a 2D object, even though it's 3D, which means that the shading isn't working properly. And so even though I had the Amazon Prime logo, which has an insane amount of lighting and very specific lighting, I couldn't light the entire thing. So I was gonna just like run through the entire creation process, talk about the mistakes of it, because yeah, the shading tab crashes with certain fonts. Wow, I haven't experienced anything with the S text because I haven't used it. However, I was gonna make a video on, you know, my experience with it, what I would recommend using the S shape stuff for, what I wouldn't do with it, blah 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 blah, what I might do instead, because, you know, on the channel we try to make everything in Resolve. Right? There's a lot of people who would go, you could do this in Blender. I don't know how to use Blender. I could learn how to use Blender, but then I wouldn't be doing all my stuff in Resolve, right? And I'm a Resolve guy, right? That's the whole point of the channel is, you know, learn how to do stuff in Resolve, even things that maybe you shouldn't be able to do, but would be really cool if you could. So the video is just going to be about like the mistakes and the learning process and blah 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 blah. And I even made a title and thumbnail for it. It's like one of the few videos that didn't get released. Can't imagine Kareem's reaction while hearing this XD. I have no idea what Kareem has been up to these days, but he's I know he's always doing something. Oh yeah, no, Kareem's learning Nuke and Houdini and Blender and Resolve. I'm the inversion of Kareem, where I try to do everything in Resolve, right? And he'll just learn whatever software is the best for the thing. And I'm like, no, I can do it in Resolve. I can do it in Resolve. Trust. Usually I can find the way too. Except for the procedural or the volumetric lighting pizza. I don't know that I'll need a render farm or a server before we do volumetric lighting, because compressing 300 frames into a single frame to create a singular frame of a video is not is not something the 4080 can do just yet. Anyways, so we got the CRT effect. We also created this little like mosaic blur with fast noise effect. We added stop motion onto it, so it'll do this, and the actual like effect of it is whatever part is lighter, the more you're going to notice the displacement taking place. Like you'll see over here is like right here, and whatever part is darker, you'll notice it less. So like up here, you can see up here we've got some displacement. So that's part of what we did. Then we also made like a little visual red degradation effect. I don't know how I feel about this, though. Something about it is kind of it's a little bit off, or it's not merging. It's not merging in. Ooh, I kind of like that. I was gonna say it's not merging in with the footage perfectly. I kind of wanted it where it's affecting it, but you can still have the color and the attributes of whatever's behind it bleeding through. And this is great. This is like burning, like corrosion. Ooh, that's what we want. Okay. So. Yeah, I think we're going to want this, but I'm also going to want to make it a little bit less I need some form of less noticeable. This might be where we take, this might be where we take this. We introduce more seeds. Yeah. And then if I stretch this out a bit more, there we go. Then we can add an expression into the center point, and we can go time times 0.001 negative 0, because I want it to move down. If I don't make it negative, it's going to move up, right? But I want it to move down. And we have the stop motion on so that it's got that old video game feel, right? Then we put the mosaic blur on so that we get a little bit more of a posturized feature. By the way, Pizza, who's in chat, he's got a store where he's got some paid stuff, some free stuff, everything. Like the picture, like if you were to go to a store and it's like you can get generic box, and then Pizza's got he's handcrafted a box out of wood. He's got I think it's a lathe or whatever, but he's like handcrafting stuff. That's Pizza. He makes like custom tools. He codes the stuff in Resolve. So definitely go check out Pizza's stuff. He's got free stuff. He's got not free stuff. And the reason I thought of it was because of this. He's got a tool called Posterize, which basically creates this effect right here. I think that's everything we want for this effect. However, I want to remove a little bit more of the effect from here. Let's see. Yeah, okay. We're getting it. Look at that. So that is going to be our... There we go. That's going to be our glitch effect. I think we might add in the color page a tiny bit of... Ooh, wow, look at that. We might add a tiny bit of like a posture eyes, yeah. All right, Euro, thanks for coming out, man. Good to see you again. Good to see you. I think we're gonna add a little bit of like film blur or film grain, something like that. Let's try both of them. Let me add film damage and then film grain, and then get rid of this scratch here because it's not film, right? It's computer. But I think that, yeah, I think that's good. And then the film grain, you don't really notice a ton, but that's because we haven't. There we go. Yeah, is that, what do you think? That's corrupted enough for you? From here to there. I think that might be corrupted enough. Let me make the grain strength up. Oh yeah. I'd say that, look, I'd say that's pretty corrupted. I'd say that's pretty corrupted. So, this I threw onto an adjustment clip because, let's scroll down here, go to, I guess I'd put this in VFX. You can see I got a whole bunch of stuff here. So I've been taking my effects, putting them onto adjustment clips, and then I just put the adjustment clip into a power bin so that I can use it later if I need, as opposed to having to export it as like a fusion preset, fusion template, or like a LUT, something like that. Now there is definitely benefits to having a what's the word I'm looking for, effects like my face cam effect right here. This is like a template made, exported, or it's like a macro, whatever, in Resolve. But for something like this, I can just I can pull this out to however long I want it to be. I don't have to worry about putting it on multiple clips, right? So adjustment clips are useful. I used to not use adjustment clips very much. Kareem, that's smart. Thank you. I was, if Menlo's still in the chat, I saw him doing it a whole bunch, and I was still like, man, from what I've heard, like adjustment clips, they can slow your system down. He is a 4090 though, so I don't know if he'll notice it as much. I haven't really noticed much of a slowdown either. So it might be if you're stacking, like if you're stacking the hell out of them. But I was like, okay, let me see what he's doing, and there is like quite a bit of utility for them. So I'm gonna make this into like corrupted. I'll just put like corrupted look, and then we will actually put this into looks. There we go. Yeah, so you can see I've like different like color grade-ish type stuff here. And then I've got like intense or chase look. So this like just gives everything a little bit more punch. We've got the horror look, which is a little bit darker, a little bit greener, like, you know, basic stuff. We got the black and white. Yeah, I would like to create, and oh yeah, I forgot about the dark blue sad look. I would like to, I think it's not Orson, right? It's Mr. Alex Tech. He created a tool that basically lets you do color grading changes in the edit page. And I would like to do not something anywhere nearly as involved to that degree, but something that is pretty adaptable, can create you some decent effects, and it's got some controls in the inspector. I would have to spend some time playing around with it, because there's so many different kinds of footage, and if your footage is already blown out, then obviously it's not going to be able to help a bunch if it's blown out already. But you know, for stuff that's very, very light, stuff that's very, very dark, stuff that's super red, stuff that's super green. Yeah, I think it's because it's simple effects, not a heavy fusion comp. Yeah, I could see that. That could be it. So with this, my whole intention with this, I can pause the music as well for this part. I'm going to try to have like an extreme contrast type of... I'm going to try and have an extreme contrast type of vibe to this, where we're going from like the normal la 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 la, right? We're going from that to you know, let me play like just this. Like that, and so I want to jump back and forth between that because that's kind of the feel of the game is I'll have like a completely normal moment where someone's like, wow, I love Normalville. Normalville is so good. This is a great place, and you too will also love living here because Normalville is so great. And then I'll talk to the next character and they'll be like, we've been trapped here for decades. Our flesh and bones are decaying and falling off of our bodies. And I'm like, jeez, man. How much time you take to create this. The intro itself, like the order of the clips is almost ready. But when you think about like a TV show, like a coming up sequence, your goal is you're trying to create enough curiosity without like giving away what everything is about and like how it all happens. Wonder if Resolve imports picture profiles for photos. I'm not sure. I did a bunch of photography. I've been doing like photography for years. I did photography for years. I also haven't done photography in a few years. So I wouldn't be able to answer a ton of questions with like a boatload of confidence as far as that goes. However, I haven't had any issues ever doing like color grading in Resolve. I know we have the photo page. I just use the color page. The color page has more tools. I can do more stuff with it. Right. Anyways, so let me watch this through. I might get rid of this first shot here. It doesn't really do a ton for me, but I guess not bad. So yeah, we go from, and I haven't done any audio work. This is purely just, this is like more or less raw. I've got a couple different slices of music here. So we've got like very serious blah 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 horror game. We have we've got the game audio, which is like super upbeat and cheery. We've got the more like dreary, something's not quite right music. Then we got the serious music. Go back to the normal fun music. Haha, oh my gosh, it's Oscar, everyone. Our dog is not very happy. Our dog needed timeout. You must have 15 points. Then I'm like, oh, I'm purchasing dog food for my dog. Then she'll just go, we're stuck here. And I'm just purchasing food for my dog. Then there's a graveyard behind all the houses. Don't know what that is for. Doing a puzzle. Blah blah blah. So this game kind of uses the line of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Of uncanny with straight up disturbing. It takes that line and it uses it as a jump rope. So the first puzzle we did, completely normal dog. This puzzle, even our dog is starting to be a little bit disturbed by what's going on. Sagari Adav. Let me know if I pronounced that correctly. I'm trying. I'm just gonna call you Gary. How you doing, Gary? What's good, man? We're editing, we're chatting, we're giving away some of the sauce, and then we jump right into here. So we've got a couple different timelines going on. The dog's like, I need you to take care of a problem. We don't know what that is. We meet one of our characters. We're doing a puzzle. It's like, okay, what the heck is this for? But we're completing objectives. The dog is emerging. We progress. Oh, our dog is always hungry. The dog definitely seems like it has a hunger for something. Oh, there's the dog food. Then we get a little bit more lore. We're stuck here. We see some graves. Okay, so they're stuck here until they die. We're doing the puzzle. Let me turn off scrubbing here. We're doing the puzzle. Okay, yeah, even the puzzle's not right. The dog is progressing. We've got this area here, so a little bit more mystery for you. A little bit more disturbing. Yeah, here we go. We've been trapped here for decades. Our bodies are decaying. Our dog is still hungry. Pick up the axe to do something unspeakable. Who the heck is that guy? Doing the puzzle for the third time. It's just getting progressively worse. That's kind of the theme of the little trailer here. Oh, Sagaria Dev. Okay. Okay, that's news to me. Okay, so Sagaria Dev. Interesting. So yeah, it just gets progressively worse. Just a reminder, do what the dog says. Breaking down the door. There's a guy in the shower. Things are about to get crazy, so strap in. Boom. And then we jump into the game. The only issue I'm really having is how to get that smooth transition from this crazy sequence. Oops, I pulled up my keyboard somehow. This crazy sequence to now the slow burn of the game. But, you know, it's all an experimentation, right? You got to do some experimenting. So let me see if this will actually play through smoothly. What is that? 1, 2. So there's the puzzle. Boom. And so in between all of this, keep in mind, this is basically raw. So we're going to have different levels of corrupted visuals. We're going to be adding in extra sound effects. We're going to be using that corrupted look that we made like half an hour ago, overlaying that on top. I'm probably going to have different levels of it so that the worse a situation is, the more corrupted it's going to be. Yeah, so this is a demo. Again, for more context, I can't wait to spend more time in this. I love cyber areas of stuff. Yeah, dog's hungry again. Pick up the axe. Okay, so basically when you are editing a video, and this especially goes to anyone who's doing like entertainment content, and especially gaming content, the emotions that you want the viewer to feel and the things you interact with should have sounds. Like you should, where's the axe? Here we go. Like you should hear the things that you are interacting with. So when I go to pick up this axe, there is, let me do this. There's no sound. There's no sound. And this is kind of a lot of things. It's funny. I've been talking to Menlo about this for years, right? And we'll both, because we both play games, and we'll be like, oh, the sound design for this game was really, really good. I didn't have to add in any sound effects for this. But then you'll get a game like this where you go to pick up the axe, and you want to feel the weight of the axe in your hands. You want it to feel to the viewer like I'm gonna do something with this axe here. So you want like the shing of the axe. You want the heft of you picking it up, and usually you can add like a little cloth movement or whatever, blah blah blah. You know, basic sound Foley stuff. But you should hear the things that you're interacting with. And then like the same for like environmental audio. If you're in a cave, things that you are doing should, what's the word I'm looking for? They should sound realistic to the environment you're in. So if you're in a cave and someone gets hit on the head with something, there should be like a sizable or like a heavy amount of reverb on that. Yeah, so we got to add in transitions for a whole lot of this stuff. What is nice is I have a block glitch. Where is it? Where's the block glitch? Here we go. And I think this is built into Resolve. Oops. There we go. Block glitch. Oh, the block glitch effect. Delightful, especially for this. So I could probably Let's see here. Let me see if I can add, no, not a fusion composition. Let's see if I can add an adjustment clip on top of here. Go like this, and then just add the block glitch effect on top instead of having to put 2 block glitches on my footage. Block glitch. Let me see if that works. No, okay, so it has to be a transition. So I could, let's see. Can I put this just on top? No, okay, so it has to be through here. Yeah, so the block glitch is really cool. I'll be using it in conjunction with, there's a few other glitch transitions that I got. I don't remember where I get them. Someone will be like, here's a free thing, or this is a cool editing pack, and I'll pick it up, and then I won't use it for 4 years or 2 years or however long. And then I'll be looking for a glitch effect, and I'm like, wow, this is a really cool glitch effect. Like, whoa. Oh yeah, like look at that. That's cool. You got all these different glitch effects. I don't know what the counter one is for, but I could 100% see myself applying, what was it, number 4? I think it was, yeah, number 4 on as well. The only thing is I wish I could stack these, which technically I can. If I do this, and then I go boop, and I go boop, and I do this, and I create a copy. Let me make sure I didn't add a second copy of the audio. Then I get rid of this, and then I do this. Let me see if... Yeah, okay, so those do affect each other. Then I could take this, make a compound clip, go like that. And now, we have both of these laid on top of each other. Honestly, for our purposes though, the block glitch will do, because the sound effects are really going to help with that transition as well. And I think, let's see, how can I make... Panda Gaming, I know what you mean. How can I make plugins with fuses? Okay, plugins with fuses is a little bit outside my realm. I do know a little bit. That is something, if Pizza is still here, that you definitely want to ask him about. Doing plugins with fuses. From what I have seen, and there's a guy named Ristal who you can search him up, Rystal, I think, on YouTube. He actually has a plugin called Typeflow. It's a text plugin, but you could do this with, I imagine, anything. Yeah, like Ristal's. From what I've seen, his plugin is like, it's a fuse, but the actual UI elements are like macros or templates. It is like a DRFX effect. So what happens is when you install it, to my knowledge, if I'm remembering correctly, the fuse will get installed like into your Fusion profile, which you have to go like into Resolves folders a couple layers deep to find. But the fuse will get installed like right into your Fusion profile, and then the DRFX file is purely for UI, which is actually a really smart thing to do. If I knew how to create fuses, that is 100% what I would do. Unfortunately, I'm not a computer science guy. I know how to make stuff within Resolve. However, I do not know how to write the Lua code for the fuses. There are resources. You can probably click on Pizza. He might have his server included in his channel profile. But he has, and he knows about a ton of really good resources for learning Lua. I think he knows a little bit about, I would say, the Fusion SDK. Yeah, have him on Discord. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Pizza is your guy for like learning fuses. 100%. He's got, I think, a server as well. It's got like, I think it has a resources page with all the fuse stuff. That is the area to be. Okay, I think we're gonna want. Actually, I'm gonna need to move all my face cam footage up because we're going to want to add in our corrupted look underneath, and I don't want it affecting my face cam. I want you to be able to see the reactions that I have. Also, let me see if I just do this. Okay, yeah. So that's not something I'll be able to adjust the strength of. So this would be an example of why having a preset for something like this might be better. If I want to adjust the strength of this so that the corruptedness of the effect changes from shot to shot, I can't just adjust the opacity of this effect, because you can see, you know, I'm ending up with kind of like a frame blend effect, which is that's not what I want. I would realistically want to adjust the displacement, but we don't have that because this is on an adjustment clip. Still a very good and useful effect. I'll just have to be a little bit creative with what I'm doing here. But yeah, that's an example where I might have. It's an example where I might have a Fusion preset. Let's see. Bro, the Fusion seems very disappointing to me. Also, it's very zip, zup, crazy and laggy for me. So what do I do? I want to learn editing so bad. Well, Sid, it depends where you're coming from. That's going to affect your first impression of Fusion. If you're coming from After Effects, you're going to be like, whoa, what is going on here? Why are there nodes, and what do they do, and what the heck is all this, right? And that's kind of where you have to log some hours just learning the node flow of Fusion. We'll do like a quick crash course on this. 1 second. Because in Fusion, think about it, instead of being layers where you're stacking stuff on top of each other, for the information, it's kind of more like an assembly line. So like on a factory, you take some information, starts at the beginning, and it goes station 1, take that now product, move it to station 2, add some changes. And so for what we have here, I guess I don't need this. This was something I was playing with. So this is our footage right here, right? So I take that footage, I move it over to station 1. The colors would be a lesson for another day, but this would be whatever you are going to affect, and the green would be the change that you're going to make. So it's like, here, feed the information to this, and then the green is like, this is the change I'm going to apply. So it goes to station 1. I have this effect, which, you know, we've made using fast noise, stop motion, mosaic blur. So I'm taking fast noise. For anyone who doesn't know, fast noise is basically half of the effects in Resolve. Starts off as smoke and becomes, you know, anything you want. I've used fast noise to make smoke, to make water, blood, fire, lava. Fast noise is so insanely useful. Can you suggest some channels that will help me learn AE? I'm planning to use DaVinci for simple edits or something. I couldn't help you with After Effects, Sid. That's not my wheelhouse. You'd have to find an After Effects guy. However, with Fusion, right, that is up my alley, and I do sympathize with you, and I do understand where you're coming from, because I approached Fusion probably half a dozen times, I would say, before I understood it, right? So I was like, how the heck does this work? Like, why do I have to plug stuff into other stuff? I don't know what the heck any of this does. Okay, I can see when I adjust settings here, it makes changes, but then when I plug these things into each other, they give me different changes, and if my Fusion composition is wrong, like, what's the difference between, you know, this one and this one, it makes no sense. What, like, my fusion composition, it's all like, it's all wrong. You know, that was me. But once you, and like this channel is about fusion, so like we do, mind you, we do a lot of advanced stuff. I do have a video on like the basics of fusion, and I do want to do another either stream or like maybe a mini video series about like, you know, learning the basics of fusion, understanding the concepts and principles. But it's just like an assembly line system. You take information, right? You plug it into something else, right? And then I can take the information from here, and then on here, I can, you know, move it over. So take this information and now use this one to move it over. Then I can plug that information into, you know, something else. Maybe I move this one down, right? So it very much is information assembly line, you know. You get so many channels too. I don't know why watching DaVinci looks very depressing to me. I mean, Sid, how new are you to video editing? Where are you coming from? Are you coming from like CapCut, Premiere, Movavi, HitFilm, Filmora, or Sony Vegas? There's a creator. He's got like 10 million subscribers. Still uses Sony Vegas, and now he doesn't do a ton of like insane edits, but Smitty on YouTube, he uses he I don't know how he's still in. Oh, you're an Avid? No way. Yeah, we did forget to mention Avid. However, oops. Fusion, once you have the hang of it, becomes very, very easy to use. And especially if you're doing larger things when you've got multiple elements. I was like, when I learned Fusion, but be consistent, you get, yeah, I mean, it's just like learning anything. There's going to be a little pain period where you're like, I don't understand what the hell is going on. And you just have to keep on pressing forward. And I had to do that for a while. And you will slowly start to go, oh, wait a second, this thing does this. If I change it around, it does that. Biggest thing, though, was node flow. Understanding the colors and what they do was huge. Yellow is background, green is foreground, blue is mask. So blue is your cookie cutter. It's going to cut things out of the green area, and the green is going to apply changes to the yellow. You thought confusion was confusion. When it makes sense once you do it for a while. Still probably only use 50 nodes. Yeah, 50 nodes overall, maybe even 20 nodes. Like, there's probably 100 plus nodes in Fusion, and, you know, most of them you won't ever need, right? You occasionally will need some nodes for, like, super specific effects, but typically you can get by understanding, like, the small function that you need, and then for the rest of it, you're like, oh, I can keep that as like a preset or something. Next IQ Motion, how you doing, man? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. I haven't seen you around these parts before. You're new here, aren't you, fella? Yeah. So, Fusion, insanely cool. Using CapCut from 2022 as I was editing for my gaming channel. It was very easy for me, but I stopped thinking about the editing for a while. And again, thinking to master editing this time. Here's what then I opened DaVinci and was like, rest in peace. DaVinci is big, and it has a hefty learning curve. You don't need the first 3 pages. The editing page is where you'll spend most of your time. Fairlight, you can get by without ever opening. I just thought it's a recorded video. Oh, no, this is live. This is live. DaVinci, you started when you were 9 years old? So, damn, Panda Gaming. Panda Gaming's been here for forever. Geez, Panda, you were built for this. That's what I'm hearing. Panda Gaming knew right from the get-go what he wanted to do. And then Fusion Color, those are your 2 heavy hitters. These are the things people get scared of because the color page is like, oh my god, so many things. What do I do? Right? But once you understand, color science, right, color theory, it's kind of like when you know the basics or like why you would do things, then you're like, oh, I only need like 3 tools. right? You're like, oh, you're like, I don't really need any, like, most of the tools. It would only be if I'm a colorist. Like, I basically never use this. I basically never use this. I do use this. This is very nice. Basically never use the HDR wheels. Basically never use color matching because that's like a live thing. Or like if I'm out on set, you know. So I basically, you know, you'll sit in here, you'll do some of this, right? But once you understand color science, color theory, which isn't wildly complicated. Can you explain one thing about text? I might. Can you teach me how to make a flash effect and shake? A flash effect, you could basically just use, you know, an adjustment clip for. Where did all my tools go? Oh no, I need to bring this up. A flash effect, you could probably just use like solid color, you know, change it to white. And then you could probably just, you know, adjust your handles on it. So it's like this. And then bam, something like that. Obviously, you're going to, you know, you're going to adjust it to have your own style. What type of video are you editing right now? Right now, we're editing a video for the video game Pepper the Giant Purple Dog. Think Clifford the Big Red Dog, but purple and wants to eat you. So it's a horror game that presents itself as like an old computer game from early 2000s. Sid, you got a question about the text. So a shake effect as well. Menu disc. I'm not even gonna try and fully pronounce your name, man. I already know I'm gonna botch that. However, a shake effect, typically you can jump into Fusion. You can just go camera shake, add that on, and you have, boom, all of this stuff here. You just kind of add it in, right? It'll shake. These are kind of your three main areas that you're going to play with. However, I do think there's also a camera shake just in the effects area. Let me do shake. Is there a camera shake just in here? Oh man, I forgot about this. This is like stuff I was... What is this? Spin shake? I have stuff in here that I haven't used in forever. This might be like a legacy Resolve effect, something. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, camera shake, super simple. Hey everyone, I'm a new member here and I've just started learning DaVinci Resolve. This is actually the first video editing software you've ever used, so super excited to learn. Heck yeah. Just starting out with DaVinci, really want to add text to my drone intros and fly through the text. Ooh, interesting. So Zach Code and Daximus TT. Welcome. Sandwich Man, welcome. We have a Domino's Man. So now we have a Domino's Man and we have a Sandwich Man. Yeah, dude, DaVinci Resolve, super awesome software. Like, there's so much you can do. And I'll hear from Adobe users all the time, oh, it can't do this and it can't do that. And I'm like, yes, it can. What are you talking about? it can do so much stuff. The Resolve has so many tools people just don't know about, or they don't think about. One thing about the text, Sid, I'm not sure. Wait, Sid, send the thing about the text because I'm not seeing it. Sandwich Man, let me read your chat. And then I'll get to you, Dax. I've been using Resolve for about 2 months, completing the BND beginner guide, among others, but despite that, I still lack the creativity and drive to create new projects. Why are you not making tutorials like Davin Jatho, some like these type of videos? I would have to look that up, NextIQ. I don't even know who that is. Okay, Dax. For having your drone fly through text, that is, I believe, planar tracker stuff. Now, there's 2 trackers in Resolve. Everyone is going to tell you. I don't know what people are doing in Resolve. Everyone is going to tell you constantly, you need the planar tracker. This is the only tracker I use. Planar tracker I use if I have something that, if I have something that is like IRL 3D stuff where I'm moving through space, and I need it to do something like you're doing where you want to fly through the text, there is a channel. We do have a guy for this. We have Johnny. I think he might be in the server. He knows a ton about 3D and like lighting composition for 3D stuff. He's like the best at this stuff. But the planar tracker is what I would use for what you want to do. Basically, the way the planar tracker works, right? You connect it to your footage. I'm not gonna bother going through all of this stuff right now because it'd be a while, and I don't remember all the exact details. But you run your footage through the tracker. You get your tracking data. Then you create what's called a planar transform, and the planar transform will basically move whatever you are, whatever you want to stay in the spot, whatever you want tracked. So that it looks like it is, stuck to one area. That's the first tracker. The second tracker, this is the one I use for most of my stuff because I'm just usually like pinning something somewhere and it's not 3D. And this basically just goes onto, one area. It uses color data to figure stuff out. So you would want to use like a high contrast area. Like here, I've got a spot of white, a spot of black, and a spot of purple. Then we got this all around. So this would be a good area for it to track because there's a lot of difference in the color. It will be very easy for it to tell, oh, this is like a consistent area. And then you just kind of plug whatever you want to stick on it into the green. And there's a couple different versions of that. The trackers could be a whole video in of themselves. It's very hard to shift from After Effects Fusion things. Next IQ, I've heard that a whole bunch of times. Now After Effects, I will give credit to After Effects, even though they don't do like technically real 3D. From what I've heard, apparently After Effects is like 2.5D, and I don't know what 2.5D is. I know it's not 3D though. After Effects has a lot of good typography stuff. So if you do typography and you're like an After Effects guy, then you've got all your tools that you need, right? The best editing workflow is the one that works for you. So if someone's like, oh, should I go from AE to Fusion, right? I get that question from time to time. And my answer is, well, if Fusion has the tools that you need and After Effects doesn't, then I mean, yeah, like make the switch, take the time to get through the learning curve and excel. Right, because Resolve has so many tools. I would say one of the few things that it doesn't have is the time that Adobe's been around. So there's like a lot more plugins and stuff, but it is getting up there. Daximus, I did see your message. You're doing that. You're doing a deep dive. It'll be fun. You'll learn a whole bunch. I think After Effects is something for video, or sorry, for motion designing. And DaVinci is for video editing. I think reviewing it for sometimes. I can tell you, I do a whole bunch of like MoGraph in DaVinci. Like you can check out the other videos on the channel. We created the cinematic Netflix thing with all the colors and lines. We made that 100% in Resolve. Yoro, who was in the chat earlier, he made an entire SAS animation in Resolve, and I think he did the breakdown in 2 parts because it was so big. Yeah, there's so much. So there's so much you can do. Yeah, Sid, for text stuff. Text stuff is a little bit of its own animal in Resolve. We do have a video on what's good. Deblendity. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Let me know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Where was I? But yeah, text animation in Resolve is its own animal, like 100%. I did a full like 2-hour text breakdown. Can't you see my text, bro? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Sid. I see the thing. You're like, I don't like nodes. You have channels. using CapCut. Explain one thing about the text. You're going to have to be specific, though, what you mean about the text that you want explained. But yeah, the text animation in Resolve is one of those things where, like, it's a rabbit hole. Like, I could go on about it forever, because you've got, if this is, first we got to figure out if we're doing 2D text or if we're doing 3D text, because 3D is going to be a little bit different. Can you recommend some free assets website? I mean, I would just go on YouTube, right? We're on YouTube right now, and I would type in, you know, free Resolve preset pack, right? There's tons of people offering free stuff. I've got free stuff on my store as well. We've got some basic things. Text animation in Resolve is good with Techito's script. I don't know who that is, but I'll take your word for it, because there is a lot of good text tools in Resolve. I did a full, like, 2-hour breakdown video. We went through so much stuff. We did AMV text. We did, like, Alex Hormozy text. We did Mr. Beast text. Zach Code, I think I'm in a good place. Thank you so much. Happy to help. My pleasure. But we did so much. What were the other ones we did? We did, like, the motivation type text. What was all 4 we did? We did, I don't know why my nose is so itchy today. We did 5 different types of text. We did Mr. Beast. We did Alex Hormozy. We did Vox, or like typewriter type text. We did then the motivation type text. And then last but not least, we did the AMV type. And we set all of these up, or we set a lot of them up with, like, expressions. We set them up so that you could turn them into templates or presets to be reusable. We made them adapt to different frame rates, different projects. So that is a video on the channel. I 100% easily I recommend that video. It's got, like, I think it has over 10,000 views on it, and it's just like a 2-hour masterclass in a lot of areas of text. We use things that I don't see anywhere else in Resolve, and I think part of that is because people don't know. People don't know that some of these tools exist, and it's one of those things. It's like, oh, there's no tutorials because there's no documentation, and it's a chicken and egg situation, because then there's no documentation because there's no tutorials. So you kind of have to venture out into the unknown, figure out some cool and weird stuff, make a video on it so that someone goes, ooh, that's cool. And then they deep dive on it, they learn some stuff, and then they can continue the cycle and, like, teach someone else. That's kind of, I think that's what that text tutorial will help for a lot of people, because I see a lot of basic stuff. I didn't see a lot of the stuff that I put in that video. 2 hours long. You could easily spend, like, a week on it. But yeah, it is out there for anyone who wants to learn or take, you know, their text animation to the next level. I mean, you could also use it with other stuff too, but that's again, that we're getting off topic here. So let me jump back into this, because I'm realizing we need to, you know, progress this a little bit forward. I want to first and foremost clean up the rhythm of this. And sometimes a video doesn't really take shape until you add certain elements. Like, I spent, like, I think 3 hours just sitting and going through, and you can see I have markers on some of these clips. I spent, I think, 3 hours just watching them through and changing the order, and I could not figure out a intro structure that I wanted to do. For 3 hours. I'm sitting there. I'm like, God, like, nothing feels right. And it's the let me do this. It is the, oops. It is the music from the game itself that was messing with my vibe, because I kept hearing the music, and the music was setting the tone, and the tone was just a complete mismatch from what I was picturing in my head. So we've used the AI voice isolation. I think that's a studio only thing, but you know, there's a lot that you can do even without. But we sat there for 3 hours trying to figure it out. And then I was like, oh, wait a second, change the music. And then instantly it was like, oh, it just clicked. And sometimes that's how it goes. You'll spend a couple hours making no progress, and then you change the way that you're thinking, or you try a new idea. And then I think I got most of the intro done in the next 10 minutes. Yeah, and that I could say that is a lot of how post-production goes, where it's not just a linear path. It is very much like stop and go, stop and go, and stop and go. I'm not sure I'm gonna keep this shot in. However, yeah, I need to keep this part in. I need to get rid of this visual, because this gives away what the problem is. The whole point is you hear what the problem is, but you hear that there's a problem. I don't tell you what the problem is, because that's like the whole mystery. That's the whole point. So we go, ooh, what's the problem? And then I'm like, what is that? So now you're connecting. Oh, maybe that's connected to the problem somehow. We meet one of our characters, so I'm throwing a little bit of extra context in. Maybe this guy could be the problem. Dun, dun, dun. We have our first progression of this game is weird, and we don't really get what's going on. We've got our first bit of like grunge element. Then we jump back into the game, add a little bit of plot, a little bit of world building. He's always hungry. Yeah, he looks always hungry. And then we keep on going. Okay, let's get a little bit into the sauce here. So I'm gonna want a TV turn on effect. I think I have a good one here somewhere. Let me take a look. Sort by date. Okay. So there is also, and I think this is just included. Here we go. I think this is just included in Windows. There is an app that you can use to find files called Everything. And it is literally just called the Everything app. It's an orange magnifying glass, and it'll search all of your folders across all of your hard drives. I use it when I'm looking for my different sound effects, or if I'm looking for different clips, because I have stuff everywhere within like 1 or 2 hard drives, and I don't want to go into my file explorer, search, pizza blue, everything is good, and I don't want to search for all of this different stuff. So what I do instead is I get the Everything app, and then I just type in TV. Let me see. I just type in TV. Here we go. I've got like TV turn on sound effect. And then let's go to our media pool, because I want to make sure that I'm not accidentally importing a million things into my power bins, because my power bins are what I use for kind of my global stuff. But yeah, anyone who's not using power bins, who creates a lot of similar content, you got to be using power bins, man. It'll save you so much time. Yeah, so we've got TV turn on sound effect. Let me see, what's this sound like? Let me mute this and this. Ooh, that's like what's the type of TV? It's like an older, the older kind of TV with the CRT hum. Eagle will let you hover, preview audio and stuff. Ooh, interesting. So is Eagle. I'm gonna write that down, Pizza. Eagle. Highly recommend Eagle for previewing files. Interesting. No, we need to check it out. Yeah. Listery. This is another one. I'm getting, you guys are helping me out just as much as I'm helping you out. Wow. Okay, descending TV ocular noise. Let's see this. We might use that for our glitch sound, but I don't see me using that as like the TV turning on at the beginning. I do like that little flick at the beginning when it turns on the ding. I like that. We might use that. Let's see. We got television turn off, television turn on. Let's see, what's this? Ooh. Actually, let's toggle these off as well, so we're just listening. Oh, I just realized, oops. Right after I said you don't want to be accidentally importing 8 billion things into your power bins, I started importing stuff into my power bins. Okay, anyways, we got television switch. We got television turn on. Ooh. So for this shot here, I'm thinking, let me cut this, bring it over here. So it is a computer. So if I turn this off, it is a computer sound. However, yeah, that's not bad. So that could be one element that we use. Let me bring this way over. Have you played around with Long Shadow yet? I haven't. I saw your message, Pizza. Long Shadow is out. That's one of Pizza's effects. I haven't played with it yet. It looks really cool, though. Ooh. Oh, this... I 100%, I would use this for the glitching. And I think I'm going to color these. I'm going to color these a specific color so that I can tell what category I'm looking at. TV white noise. What is this? Ooh. I might have this as like an undertone. An undertone here. I would turn this like way down. Yeah, and then that'd be kind of our background sound. Let's pull some more TV stuff in here. I think we're gonna want some power hum stuff as well. So let me see about pulling this in here. Let me make sure I didn't get rid of anything. Okay. I could see using this here, but I would pull it down. I'd pull this down a whole bunch. And then maybe increase the semitones. Let's see. How's this sound? What if I just... Ooh, no thanks. I think I might want to get rid of some of the lower frequencies. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I don't think we're going to use that one. But I do want like I do want a power hum. So let me type in power hum here. Oh, I have a light power hum, and I have, power hum loop in the key of F. Let's try this. Power hum M4A. That's very long. I'm going to make sure I pull this in over here. And then extend this out. Let's move this up a little bit. Move this up because we don't really need the video right now. And then let's solo that. Ooh, I could see using that. So let's trim this down, color it blue, move it on over, and then I have another one here. It's electrical hum powerful, key of F. Can I pull this in, or is this? Let me see. Let's try electrical hum. Electric feedback hum. Play this back. Oh, we're 100% using that as like a drone. That's it. This is going to be a drone for when we have like the corrupted look on stuff. And we just have this echoing in the background. Oh yeah, like for example, if I throw, let's get the looks out here. If I throw like the horror look on here, and we were to throw like a little bit of static or something on there, big TV node guy, different tool, set flow state for 200 joules. Set the flows, Jarvis. I'm gonna need you to import 800 different TV effects, play them all at once, so I can figure out which one's the best one. Electrical hum, electrical feedback. Which one's this? Hum Feedback hum. This is futuristic. Oh, we're using this as well. Come on. Come on. How do I not have that in my power bin? Oh no, I accidentally jumped into my power bin. I do this all the time. I'll go into my power bins and I accidentally will, I'll accidentally import something and it ends up being in there and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta get rid of this, make sure it's just in my, in my proper bins, or in my media pool. Ooh, okay. This is what I wanted. Let me see. Okay, can you guys hear this? It's very low. It's very low. Let me turn this up a little bit so that it's that is what I want. That is exactly what I am looking for here. So I'm going to shrink this way down. I might have to create a new power bin just for like TV type stuff. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And I think I will cut this, drag this over, because I want to fade it in myself as opposed to having the natural fade in. And I'm going to bring it down to like, yeah, bring it so it's about here. So when I do the glitch in, this will cut off a little bit after. And do something like, oops, something like this. So we have the TV turn on. Then we have the static come up, or the hum. Yeah, okay, and so these two are muted. Yeah, okay, okay. So welcome to the post-production process. A lot of it is just like getting the right sound, but because this is more of an event, I think what I'm gonna want, I need something that is, because this is very, I think diegetic is the word. Diegetic is like a sound that is, like you can see it. So if someone was to open a door in a TV show, you would hear the door opening. And then a non-diegetic sound is a sound that more communicates tone or emotion. And I need some non-diegetic for us to be like, oh, this is like a hefty thing that we're doing here. So I need like something hefty with reverb. Like a boom sound effect, which I have. Where's this? Which I have. Where is it? What is this? I have. Where's my cinematic boom? Where's my cinematic boom? Come on. Concrete scrape. That's fun. Okay. Let me just search for this. Cinematic boom. There it is. So let's shrink this down. Go like this. Maybe I think I'll include a riser as well, so that it gives us a little bit of anticipation. Oops, there we go. Pull this down a bit. We've got a, yeah, boom. Very, now it's got more weight to it. It's not like you've just like clicked on this little, hey, not B, how you doing? Or not, yeah, not B, not BH4. How you doing, man? How you doing? What's going on? We're currently doing some sound design for our video, so you can hear the difference when we have the cinematic boom versus when we don't. That's oh, you turned on a computer, and this is you've done something noteworthy with that boom. It gives it's the weight of a decision. Yeah, so we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna add a riser in here as well. So media pool. I have a couple risers. I'm not entirely satisfied with the selection of the risers that I have though. So we might add in a couple We might add in a new riser today. I think I want like a static riser. I think that is something I want to add into the repertoire of stuff and things that we have, in our media pool. Let's do this. Move this over. Move this up. And how does this sound at the end? Yeah. So drag this down, and I'm going to have this actually stop right at the end of the clip. And then real quick, let's see just how does this sound? Because if it doesn't sound good, we probably won't keep it. Yeah, we need something more staticky, and I think I might have the thing. What's the last you saw of my Automate plugin? I recently learned DaVinci. Give some advice, bro. You're gonna have to watch some tutorials and play around with things a lot. If you're doing Fusion, watch a bunch of Fusion tutorials. Basically, if you're doing Fusion, you want to focus on learning node flow, like understanding how Fusion works. That's what you want to do. If you're just learning editing, then you can just learn about like storytelling and how to like keep people engaged. I think I have the static that we need. Where is it? Here we go. I think, and let me go out of my media pool because I don't want to accidentally drag a whole bunch of random stuff into my media pool. Slenderman static. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Let's try this. I'll clip it here just because we have... Oh, that's a crunch. I thought that was going to be like glitching sounds. So let's cut that off right here. Cut that off there. And scoot this on over. Bring it down. And I visually as well, I think I'm going to slowly... want to visually degrade the quality of this as well. Because otherwise it's just audio with like no visual indication that something is getting worse. So I think we do it. We do it like right here. We would maybe add in like a prism blur or something. Let's see. It'd be prism blur plus film grain. Let me see. Let's try. Oops. Prism blur, maybe a zoom blur. Let's see what a zoom blur might do. Because we've got the zoom amount, and then we have the center exclusion. Type realistic, stylized, and I forget what some of this stuff does. Center exclusion. That's interesting. I've never seen this before with no control. Just one thing like that. Smoothing strength. I think stylized, honestly, is the way to go here. And like we'll slowly increase this. So I'm going to leave that alone for now. The prism blur has some cool stuff to it. Actually, you know what? We might do instead of... Okay, let's get rid of the blur strength. I don't want really any blur on this. Aberration distance. Aberration strength. I want this to be colored differently, and there is a way to create your own chromatic aberration effect. Let me see if there's abstraction. Oh, wait a second. There's aberration removal, but there should be chromatic adaptation. I think there's a node for this, but at the moment, I don't remember exactly what it is. So I think we're going to do a channel booleans here. Let's throw that up into this. Making your own chroma is easy. Pizza, you might have to refresh my memory, man. I do not remember. I don't remember how I used, like, because I know there's an easier way than what I'm doing. You don't even need channel booleans. Okay, definitely throw them in the chat for me if you would, Pizza. Because this is the way I used to do it. I think I would do like subtract or something, or I would do copy. I would do copy with something, and then I would basically like do nothing, do nothing, do nothing, and then I would like move this one over just a little bit, right? And that's what we do. It was either copy or subtract. Okay, yeah, it was. I think it was subtract, and then I think, what do I leave the alpha foreground or the alpha background on? What if we do alpha foreground? Okay, basically the same thing. Yeah, this is what I used to do, and I would basically just get like 3 of these, and then let's do this, connect them, and then set that back to normal. Do nothing. So we have a blue, we have a red, and then we have the green. And so between all these would give me a different look, and I could like, let me do this. I could adjust and combine them to my heart's desire. So I'd go from something like that to something like this. As far as I know, though, let me double check here. Multiply, I think I might have to do multiply instead of... Let me do a little test here. It was, was it minimum? It might have been minimum. That's the only setting I don't remember, because there was a way that I used to do it all the time. And for some reason, for the life of me, cannot remember. There's difference. Exclusive operator. Okay, anyways, well, we'll leave that alone for now. And we'll add in the film grain. Here we go. So let me move this right out of the way so there's no confusion. Add in the film grain. Oh, you sent me the node. Okay, I didn't even see that. Oh, okay. The lens distortion. Thank you, Pizza. Yeah, I have not used, or I haven't done a chromatic aberration in so long. So let's do this. Distortion. Yeah, that's it right there. You got your anamorphic squeeze. So I think with this, oh, interesting. Yeah, it's been so long. I'm not even sure that I used this node, if I'm being completely honest, Pizza. Because I had like a different way of doing it. You'll want 2 of them for different channels. Oh, okay. Distortion. Yeah, I think what I'll probably do. Let me see. Anamorphic squeeze. I'll probably have it like this. Let me... Camera settings, let's see, because I want to shift this up a little bit. Turn off the alpha channel. Let's see. Camera settings, alpha channel. I'm looking for the alpha channel, Pizza. For anyone who doesn't know, oh, there we go. For anyone who doesn't know, Pizza Blue, the man, the myth, the legend, is insanely talented at fusion. He knows, I think, the most out of almost anyone. Okay, so we're going to do something like this. What I need, though, is I think something like, it's real quick. I need it to be very, very slight. I actually had a, here we go, let's do this. I used to have a effect that I would use that would just do very minor adjustments to stuff like this. But again, I don't know what happened to it. I'll have to check on it after the stream. Yeah, because right now I think you can see it's not perfect. Okay, let me move the blue channel. Okay, never mind. Let's back to the red channel. Okay, so we just need something basic. This will do for now. And then, oh, you need two of them still? Okay, let's see. Oh, one for the red, one for the blue, I'm guessing. I don't need anything like insanely. Let's do this. I don't need anything super insane. Let me try screen or multiply. Ooh, that's actually, you know what? I don't hate that. Because that puts all the focus onto the computer itself, one after another, no merge. Ah, okay, no merge. Let's give that a try. So one after another, no merge. And then throw this in here. So let's see what happens when we're adjusting both of these. There's our red. This would then, I guess, be our blue. Okay, I see what you're talking about, Pizza. Yeah, I'm not too picky about it. I'll probably play around with it a little bit later. So for now, I think I'm going to take the film grain, throw that in, and then I need kind of a darker spot here so I can see the film grain. Overlay on top, grain strength. Yeah, there we go. And then I will want this moving. There is an option to like freeze my grain, but that's not what we want this time. So we're going to do this and slowly pull this up. So let me see. Pause the music real quick. And then I'm going to go back into my Fusion comp because here we go. Put this at 0. And then come to the end. And I'm going to jump into the spline editor, go to my opacity, bring this up to 1. And I think we're going to have a smooth introduction. Let's see. And honestly, I might move this back. Let me go keyframes, boom, film grain, zoom way, way in. Have this start all the way at 0. And then honestly pull this out. Because I want the film grain to be visible for like a good half second before we switch to the next shot. So yeah, and then we're going to have the lens distortion and the chromatic aberration jump in. So if I put this up to full playback resolution, yeah, there we go. You can see it's getting a little more blurry. And honestly, I think we can even up the film grain more. Let's pull this keyframe back so it's going to be full for a while. It's going to have the full effect for a while. And I think the grain strength, we'll bring up as well. So, oh, here we go. There's the before, there's the after. Bring the softness down. Bring the saturation up. Here's what your saturation's gonna do. It's kind of like the old, like the actual old CRT stuff. I'm not too worried about the symmetry. And I think that'll do it. Then I can add in a little bit of a zoom blur. Actually, let's see what the prism blur and the zoom blur do. Because we might not even need the lens distort pizza. We could just use the normal stuff. So let's see. Okay, yeah, I think this is what we're gonna do. So this is where your node order matters a little bit. So real quick, let's do this. If I'm doing this, and then I have my film grain here. Actually, this might not be the best example. But if I have my film grain kind of stacked on top at the end, here we go. You can see the film grain is on top of everything. If I take the film grain and I put it at the beginning, then the film grain is going to get blurred instead of the blur getting added beforehand in the film grain on top. It's kind of like maybe if you're building a sandwich, it's the order you put the ingredients on. You want to make sure the bread is on either ends. What people in this chat don't realize, I get private snack time with that say on Saturday nights. What is private snack time? Isn't DaVinci Resolve Fusion more hardware demanding than After Effects laptop with a 4050? Fusion, as far as I know, is more demanding, but to which degree, I don't know. I do know, at least from what I've heard, it is significant. Also, how you doing, the Noob Sapien and the Madman Mason himself? So this is what happens when the film grain goes at the beginning. Oh, here we go. When we put the film grain at the beginning. So let me put prism blur and film grain. So when we have just our main effect at the end, you can see I'm really not getting any film grain. If I take the film grain and I move it to the end, instant difference in shots, right? Instantly different shot. The shot instantly looks a lot more grungy. Now, do I want the zoom blur to be this? What's the word I'm looking for? Do I want the zoom blur to be this aggressive? I'm not sure. Let's take a look and see if I have all of my film grain on here. What's my prism blur gonna do to that? That's not bad. I'm gonna add in a little bit of a vignette. Up the sharpness a bit. The blur strength I don't want, because we're gonna get the blur strength with the zoom blur. Prism blur I can also move around a little bit for some crazy, wacky, zappy fun time. And then let's see if I move the prism blur from here to here. I'm not loving the look. I think we are going to leave the prism blur either before or after the film grain. Let's see. What are you guys thinking? What are you guys thinking, before or after? Because I'm kind of, let's see. Versus, I think I want to go after. So let me see my keyframes now. Let's keyframe the zoom blur. Let's keyframe basically all this. Start at 0, keyframe, and then I think I'm going to add a keyframe for both the aberration strength and the distance. And then we're going to go all the way up to frame 121. Actually, no, we'll do frame 110 instead, because I still want these visible for a tiny bit, but not for like a crazy amount of time. Oh, Pizza, I see you sent me... One second, Pizza, you sent me another message. Oh, you sent me a transform. Oh, that's with the blue. One sec, let's add this in. Let's see what Pizza's cooking up. We do that. Boop. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, this is what I think that's one version of what I used to do, something like that. Anyways, so we've got our keyframes at the beginning, and Noob Sapien. Your laptop lags when you apply too many effects, especially in the color page, especially depth map and lens blur. I don't use Fusion. Maybe I shouldn't go for it until I upgrade to a flagship PC. Okay, so Noob Sapien, depth map is a hefty effect. If you're doing depth map and then other stuff, you're gonna notice some lagging. Even I don't use depth map. Like even I won't play something back with the depth map applied. The thing I use the depth map for, or the way that I'll apply the depth map, is I'll put it on at the beginning, I'll get the look that I want, and then I turn it off until it's time to render. So I make sure I've got my look set up, and then I do everything that I need. Then I turn it back on when it's time to render. A lot of people, you'll notice, will do the same thing with noise reduction, because noise reduction is very, very heavy. Also, Madman Mason, what's good, man? How you doing? All right, let's adjust our keyframes here, going from 0 to 1, prism blur, zoom blur, get the splines going here. Boom. So turn the film grain off. I don't need the film grain currently. Let's turn these off as well. So the smooth strength. Did I not add one more on the smooth strength? Oh, I didn't. Okay. There we go. Easy peasy. So now, let me get rid of this so I can, here we go, put this at 0. There we go. I was wondering, I was like, wait a second, I'm definitely doing something wrong. Okay, and then prism blur, 110 is here and here. Bring this down, bring that down. So now I've got 3 different keyframes. I'm just going to drag a window over all these and hit F to flatten them out. And then what's our opacity look like for a film grain? Okay. So pull this out to get like a general similar shape. Kind of like that. And then with all of these, I'm going to need to everything's stacked on one another. One second. I'm going to have to turn this off. There we go. Do just the smooth strength of the zoom blur. There we go. Then just the aberration strength. And then just the aberration distance. Here we go. And so now all 3 of these together should play out pretty well. That's not bad. But I think specifically for the blur, because I like how it comes in, but it's a little bit too fast. It's a little bit too fast. I think we're gonna get rid of this. We're going to switch the way we're doing this. We're gonna go like this, and I'm also gonna pull these keyframes from 110 all the way to 120, because yeah, because I want the effect to kind of like pull you into the game, and then we're gonna add in a glitch at the end there. So let's do something like this, and then for the smoothing, we'll do something like this. So this should go, whoomp. Yeah, slowly pull you in, and then just boom, right at the very end. So prism blur. Bring the film grain down, zoom blur, just like that. These over to the end. And now, yeah, just like this. I think we are almost there. I'd say the only last thing I'm going to do is flatten these normally, and then I think make the curve a little bit softer. And if I toggle this off, then I can get a, here we go, a better look at aberration distance. Yeah, boom. So just like that. Now we have our effect right here. It's probably going to lag a little bit because we are streaming and editing and then putting fusion composition stuff together. So boom, pull you right in. And then I think that's when we're going to add in the block glitch transition. Block glitch. Boom. And that should be, this should be relatively quick. And then we can also add in for some of the, here we go. We can also add in for some of the audio, we might distort it a little bit. So Pepper says, I need you to take care of this little problem I have. I also have, here we go, light power hum. Problem I have. We could add in like a little glitch or a visual effect when he says problem to be like, oh, this is like, to add a little bit of emphasis on it. This is gonna be one of those games. Jump to here. I am Oscar. I don't know that we'll add in a ton of corruption for this. We will 100% be adding in a little block glitch and corruption transition for here. Let's go into power bins, looks. And then I could, you know, as a transition as well, I could do something like this. Oh, what happened to, wait a second. Let me do this. Why is this cutting to black? What is going on here? If I turn this off, oh, never mind. This is straight up just a frame from the game, it looks like. Oops. If I do this. Oh, this is straight up just frames from the game. I was like, why is it cutting to black? What's going on here? Okay, weird. Anyways, so yeah, we'll add in, you know, a little corruption effect. And I think I might increase the fast noise speed for this. And then where's our stop motion? Stop motion's every 10 frames. Might bring that down to like 5. So we're getting some more movement. I can bring this down to 1/4. Let me take a look at this on a more easily visible frame. Yeah. Frame repeat down to 2. Yeah, just like that. So this is probably what we'll end up using for transitions and stuff. Yeah, look at that. There's the before versus the after. That does a pretty darn good job. And we've got this. Jump back in. Okay. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. So now we need some glitch sound effects to help this entire thing along. So I'm going to go over to my power bin here. Let's just drop this right down. I have a couple glitch sounds, and I have that's a glitch drone, which sounds really cool, but I don't necessarily need at the moment. We've got a whole bunch of glitch sound effects. So there's a little bit of a story behind this audio waveform. I downloaded this off of YouTube 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe even 6 or 7. Actually, no, it wouldn't have been 7 years ago. Maybe 6 years ago. And I have used it for years. Because it has all kinds of different glitches. It is perfect for what I need. And usually, you've probably heard this one as well. That glitch specifically. So we're probably going to get this. There's also this one. This one's also a really common one that you'll hear in YouTube videos. I'm going to cut out this. So we'll probably combine these two, and then we'll get maybe some stuff that's a little bit more hefty as well. I think I'm going to want some kind of like machine malfunctioning sound as opposed to just like static glitching. So let me move this up and chop that, chop this. So now we have all 4 of these together. And this is a little bit too long, so chop that, boom, boom. And then we would have our corruption here, and I might throw the block glitch on as well as like an extra little touch. Block glitch. And let me see how this looks. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I take that. How do you stabilize exposure? In a long video, I have a 20-second clip where the exposure keeps changing throughout the shot. The best way to fix it in post. So if your exposure isn't blown out, like if the color data isn't lost, then in the color page, you should be able to just like adjust your highlights or your gain. There is an actual keyframes area in the color page that you can use. If the exposure is focused, like you're going from inside to outside, and obviously your exposure is going to change because of just the light levels outside and inside, then you might have to like manually window it, but that's only if it's like a select area, right? And you can feather it, keyframe it. But something like that, it'll take a tiny bit of fiddling, but it shouldn't be too hard. It should be relatively straightforward. Easy peasy, right? So we're going to have, this, boom. Don't forget to pick up dog food for your dog that's trying to eat everyone and everything, boom. And then right back into it, we've got the normal music playing, just like that. So if I get rid of these, I think something else, and you can happen to me while recording on a cloudy day. Yep, that's a common thing. If you've got clouds or golden hour, people hate golden hour because it can really mess up your camera. Well, if you have your camera not on automatic, like a lot of people do, a lot of people don't, then yeah, it can mess up. It can mess up some recordings or make it so you have to do some fiddling in post. So we're gonna go, I think, adding in some kind of like reverb dog bark sound effects. Because something else, when you're doing like sound design for stuff, you don't just want to add in like, oh, I know this is in like this setting, so I'm gonna do this. You also want to add in sounds that make sense and that are kind of like topic based. So because this is a game about dogs, I might add in like some creature growls or some dog barks, add like a little bit of reverb, a little bit of distortion. I think I actually have a couple growling sound effects. Oh yeah, here we go. Angry dog growl. Let's see. How long is this? Is it going to block something? No, okay. Let's see. What does this sound like? Drag the volume down a bit. Ooh, that sounds almost like a lion. How is that a dog? What? Am I just misunderstanding what dogs have sounded like this entire time? Or is that someone's like lion dog? Okay, let's see. Okay, that almost sounds like a guy. We got tiger growling. Okay, that's kind of more what we want. Even though it's not a dog. That is supposed to be a tiger, but that sounds kind of more like a pig. And this, here, watch this. I can do something like this. I can do reverb, throw reverb onto this, bring up the time, drag this over. Something like this. And then, this isn't the greatest one. I think I want some more breathing, some like animal breathing in there. Yeah, there we go. And then, give it more dry wet. And that's honestly not bad. Let me add more distance to it. Okay, heavy animal breathing. Is this a client project? This is not a client project, Noob Sapien. This is a video I'm working on for a channel, which is not this one. I do have a gaming channel, and I'm relearning all of the gaming stuff because gaming is wildly different from education. We need breathing. Oh, not breathing. Breathing sound effect. Breathing into fan, giant monster, heavy breathing. Here we go. Giant mammal, heavy breathing. Oh. Sound effect. Here we go. Monster breathing. Oh, snoring. That's funny. Let's take a listen to this. See what this sounds like. Damn. That's what the heck? That's like much. Damn, that's much heavier breathing than I was bargaining for. How about this one? Ooh. Okay, that I can work with. That I can work with. Wait a second. Hey guys. Hey guys, you think this one will work? Like our dog will sound like Darth Vader. You think our dog will sound cool if we use the Darth Vader breathing sound effect? Large monster snoring. Let's give that a try. Ooh. I kind of want the second, just the second half of this. Yeah, and then let me try putting this at like 50 Getting rid of the pitch correction on it. Put up like 80 maybe. Ooh, 80. Bring the semitones down. Oh my gosh, we just about chunked Resolve there. We got a project back up at the same time as it tried to, as I tried to bring up the reverb. Don't like that as much. So let's just do this. And I might play around with that just a little bit. Let's see, I'm thinking about video editing. So what is the best video for learning it? Like a video if you could watch for your entire life. I'm a gamer too, but I don't play a lot now. I feel you, noob sapien. Final Third 19. So that's... There's a couple different answers I could give there. And it depends on what you mean by video editing. If you mean the technical side of video editing, or you mean, where's my chapstick? Or if you mean the storytelling side of video editing. Because if you're talking about the technical side of video editing, then, you know, there's a whole bunch of like, I'd say like silver bullets or golden promise videos. Like there's guys who are like, this is how you make viral video edits. Right? There's a lot of channels out there like that, and a lot of them will have good general practices, but they focus mostly on the technical side. If you want storytelling side, which is where a lot of like the meat and potatoes come in, stuff people talk about less because everyone thinks that just flashy edits are what gets the job done. Check out, let me see if I have the channel name correct, because this is a good one to keep an eye on. I believe Colin and Samir Colin and Samir is the name of the channel, and they've been doing YouTube for, I want to say 10 plus years. They've been out here for a while, and they have a couple good videos about storytelling and how to actually like build videos, right? And even then, like just studying storytelling, like how to tell a good story, I would type that phrase into YouTube, and then maybe add on the modifier like for YouTube or for film, and then take some notes, learn a couple different things, because a lot of it is about more telling stories than it is just, you know, having flashy edits. Let's see, do you prefer Premiere Pro for high quality editing or Vinci? I have used Premiere Pro maybe twice in my lifetime. Umar. Have I learned editing from YouTube? Yes. So I learned editing mainly from YouTube. I've done like basically every kind of project under the sun. I have done like everything from like engineering, like recruitment ads, hot sauce commercials, dog training stuff, courses, education stuff, gaming stuff that you see like this. I've done like basically everything under the sun, and a lot of it was like learn on the job, learn as you go. And there's a lot of like basic principles that you can pay attention to get better at stuff, which is like know what your target demographic wants, right? And this, you could even apply this to like the different areas of gaming. So like when you hyper niche into something specific, like if it's gaming, for example, am I going to be like Game Theory, the Game Theory channel, where I talk about video games and go through the lore and, you know, whatever else? Or is it going to be perhaps like a narrated game where I'm telling you a story, I'm going from point A to point B? Or is it going to be like a funny moments, like clip show type video? And so there's different, I would almost say different styles that you would follow, or like a different rhythm for each niche that you're in. Like if I'm telling a story, like, and it's going to be narrated, then, and this, I guess this principle applies to all kinds of videos, but I'm going to want to make sure I use something that interests you right off the bat. Like, and there's a couple different ways you can do this. I could start with like a really like a cold open where I throw you into like a super chaotic clip at the beginning, and maybe it's a clip from the middle of the video, and then I cut to the beginning of the video, and then I give you a little like, so this is what we're doing today, blah 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 blah. But that first clip has to be interesting enough for you to be willing to pay attention to me explaining how we're going to get there, or, you know, what you just saw. If it's something that is more of a series, then I might do a little bit of a previously on, and I would make sure to use, you know, some of the most interesting or like narratively relevant elements from the previous video in the next one, or for the one that I'm currently doing, so that everyone who's, you know, jumping in at episode 15 or 17 at the very least has an idea of what they're going to watch. Because if I just jump into the video from the get-go, I'm gonna lose you, because you haven't seen what we did to get up to this point. So maybe if it's like a boss fight, you don't know anything about the boss. You don't know how difficult it's supposed to be. You don't know how long we've been preparing. You don't know how we feel about it. You don't know how well prepared we are. You don't know some of the struggles maybe that we've had to overcome to get to that boss. And it's all of these different elements that are going to inform you emotionally, so you know how you're supposed to feel about this, and how much you should care, and if you do care. Because if you don't care about that type of video, then, you know, you're going to click off anyways. But if you do, then you're going to stay and you're going to watch the entire thing through. And so I need to make sure that I'm using those advantages, or I'm using those elements to my advantage, because I have them all from the previous video. Right? And so that's for series. If it's like a one-off gaming video and I'm going to do it as like a funny moment, then it might be worth me doing a little fun exposition at the beginning of the video to tell you the premise of the video, what you have to do, maybe a couple things that I really like or that I think are funny, and then showing clips of those things happening, so that you have the full story, you know, before you jump into the video. Because in the actual video, if I'm showing funny moments, I'm not going to be focusing too much on anything narrative or game mechanics based. So I know I just dumped a whole bunch of information on you. Definitely, like, feel free to watch it back a couple times, because I know it can be a lot. But there's different things to pay attention to. Like in education, you get a little bit more leeway, because people tend to have more intent as viewers. Like, they're there for a reason. They're not just looking like, oh, that looks fun. They're like, no, I want to learn this thing. So you get a little bit more leeway, because they're willing to sit through a little bit more exposition. But you still want to, in education, I would say, be a lot more upfront about what's going to be in the video. And that's that. But yeah, oh man, I could go on about YouTube and storytelling and stuff for hours, and like there's still things, because I'm trying to grow the gaming channel, and it takes a lot more work and a lot more paying attention to what works and what doesn't work than education. Because education's information. It's mainly about like how you package it, how fast you get to stuff. You could say similar stuff about entertainment, but there's like a million, you know, the saying, there's a million ways to skin a cat. It's kind of like that with entertainment. And so you're trying to find the most efficient way to get that result. Okay, so how do I want to put this whole thing together? I think I might even like zoom in a whole bunch. Like here for the last couple frames, I might do a zoom, like a zoom in into like 2 or something. Yeah, like that. Yeah, to something like that, maybe like 2.5. And then this is cool. I learned this the other day. You can right click on a keyframe like that, and you can hit ease out, and it'll be a lot smoother, like that. And so now you're getting more pulled into the game, like that. And then I would have, I think, a little bit of that. I think I will use the corrupted look here, actually, just for like a moment. And I think I do want this one because it is moving faster. So let's move this over. Go like this, go like that, boom. And obviously that's going to chunk because, I mean, we're stacking a fusion effect with a adjustment clip that is a fusion composition on top of something else. So I'm not even going to worry about that right now, but we are getting the effect. Boom. We're going to want some of our glitches from here to be moved over to here. And I should probably color code these effects because I'm going to be recycling them, using them a whole bunch throughout the sequence. So color coding stuff like this can help you organize. Why can't I join your Discord channel? Happy Monday, big dog. Hey, Wampus. Wampus. What are we working on? Currently, we're working on a gaming video, and we're running through the intro. We're doing a little coming up segment, and it's like early 2000s video game. The video game itself is sentient and very hungry. So it's up to us to, and this is a game demo, so there's going to be more of the game, but to uncover the truth and hopefully not get eaten along the way. So we've got, boom, our whole startup. Let me do this so I can scrub. And then we've got, it's such a contrast from like that to straight up to this. You're in, yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, we're doing all the sound design for the intro right now, a whole coming up sequence. This is all the stuff here. And let me turn off the corrupted look for a moment, because it is definitely going to chunk everything. Yeah, you know what? I'll watch the sequence through with you guys for a moment. But let me turn off all the extra sound effects because we currently don't need those. All the stuff that's turned off is stuff I still have to look at. So yeah, let's go through this. I'll turn off everything fusion related. Yeah, and then turn this on. Oh, and let me turn the audio on. What is that? Then we got Oscar. We have, let me turn on all the face cam footage as well. I'm sorry, I'm doing this on the fly, as they say. Here we go. Oh, wait, I'm going to need the fusion stuff, but I can turn the color stuff off. And I'll put this back down actually to half because we are streaming, editing, and playing back all at the same time. You must have 15 coins to purchase. I don't have any money. I need coins to find. Oh, graves. That's bad, right? Yeah, all this needs to be cleaned up, chopped down so that it's got a good rhythm. Then we get progression. Dat dog. Ooh. Dat dog. There's something not quite right with him. Whoa. Okay, we're talking to Grandma. Jump into here. Wait, you're not Grandma. Oh. I am hungry again. Oh, no. Yeah, and then this, I, for the life of me, if you're going to have weapons in your video game, add in sound effects for your weapons. I need like a hefty, like I have this axe and I'm going to do crimes. Like, give me a sound effect for that, you know? Give me a sound effect for that. We found the coins. We got that guy. This I need to chop. I gotta get it sped up a whole bunch. So that, yeah, there we go. Putting all the puzzle pieces in correctly the first time. And I am going to do crimes! Yeah, we gotta, sorry, that's a little spoiler. Yeah, and then the video starts. But that's our whole, it's not, you know, it's not playing back wildly smooth because we are streaming and DaVinciing at the same time. But that's what our sequence is going to look like. You know what, I'll post the video as well in I'll post the video as well in the emulator in the Discord server. So we do have a link. We have a link somewhere. Yeah. Pin. Can I pin this? Oh no, wait, it is pinned. Okay, yeah. So in the pinned message in the chat, check out the Discord. I will post this video when it goes up in there so you can see the final product. I'll probably post like a clip of the intro as well, or some of the other stuff that I'm doing, just so that there's a little bit more behind the scenes. Yeah, I think in order to view this properly, yeah, we're gonna need to probably render it out. Guys, you think my dog is hungry? What do you think? He's so innocent. He's just a hungry dog. He's not trying to break out and, you know, destroy the world or anything. I promise, you know, when someone says it's okay, he don't bite, and the dog's like actively growling at you. What's your gaming channel name? So my gaming channel name is Gogler. Now, can you find it on YouTube? Not on mobile. Can you find it on desktop? Yes. However, I am currently buried under 8 billion different Google search results. So like if I search up my channel name, like I have to search instead for Gogler, and then it shows up, but it doesn't show up. It thinks it's a typo, and it'll just give you Google instead. I'll post can you make a hard shake? I tell you what, I actually do have a hard shake effect. And here I'll Noob Sapien, I'll post the actual link to the channel in the chat there in case you are interested. A hard shake effect we certainly can do. I've done this. I did this forever ago. Let me see. Shakes. I've got a couple different shakes. So I have a rumble shake, I have an explosion shake, and I have a basic shake. So when I slam a door or something, actually I've used this a bunch in the recent videos. I have an explosion shake, and it's all done with a camera shake, and it's keyframed. Then it's put onto an adjustment clip, so I can just kind of like, you know, drag it and move it around. And if I want to put it on two different things, I don't have to worry about adding in expressions for keyframes or whatever. I just have it on the adjustment clip. So it is literally just keyframed from 0, first couple frames. It moves up a whole bunch, motion scale, speed scale, motion blur goes up a whole bunch. You can see like first, 5 frames, and then it slowly comes down. Now, what does it actually look like? Let me show you. Where's my door kick sound effect? Here we go. Now, a good shake needs a good slam, So, this might be a little bit loud. I apologize in advance. So let's get rid of the face cam footage. Play this back at a quarter resolution just so I can get it to actually play back smooth for you. There you go. Boom! And I'll make this full screen. So there you go. Basic hard shake. Now, I do plan one day on making like either a pack of shakes or some kind of preset for shakes, because a good shake is hard to come by, and there's so many different shakes. There's like if you get hit, and it's like, okay, you're getting hit from the left, from the right, from the front, from the back. There's explosion shakes. There's like an earthquake where it has to rumble first, and then there's a lot more twisting and stuff, or a lot more rotation. You have like like a tap shake kind of deal, like knocking. There's so many different shakes. Like here's our basic shake in comparison. So our basic shake, I've used before if you try to answer a question. A gaming channel exploded on June 19th. Hell yeah. I don't know what I did on June 19th, but hell yeah. I did relist some stuff as well. So some stuff I had unlisted for a little bit. I was playing around with the algorithm. YouTube algorithm's really weird and not weird at the same time. That's a whole different question. That's a whole different conversation. But the basic shake, I'll use if I get like a question wrong. I actually have a visual for this, VFX. Here we go. Incorrect visual. So like I'll stack this, and you'll be like, oh wait. It'll be like, So there you go. There's our incorrect with our basic shake. And then the explosion. Boom! And you can actually like stack these on top of each other too if you want something like extreme. You can stack as many as you want. And that, this is kind of something I'm thinking about as well in making the pack, is should I make it so that you can stack them to create, different combinations of shakes. Anyways, so there's the shakes you just kind of play around with. Where did you get those? Oh, I made them. I just keyframed. I just went like, camera shake. You add a camera shake onto your stuff. And then just in the inspector, I just keyframed it. So I figured out, okay, how do I want it to look? And then add the keyframe, play it back a couple times. How does it look? How does it look? Needs a little bit more this, a little bit more that. Boom. And then you're good. Well, hello there, Panda. I mean, the incorrect visual. Incorrect visual is not a preset. It is, it's another thing I made. It is whatever the heck this is. What did I do here? This is something else. I often need to relook at things to figure out what the heck it is I did. So we bumped the contrast up. You can see here we bumped the contrast up. If we turn this off, bumped our contrast up a ton. Oh, never mind, not on this one. So on this one, we brought our gain down, our gamma down everywhere, but in our red, we bumped our red gamma up. We bumped our red gain up a whole bunch. Increased our saturation all the way to 100. What's this look like? And then it looks like what did we do here? Trying to figure out exactly what it is I did. It looks like I included almost every single part of the screen. And then here on the outside, what did we do instead? On the outside, we also did some gain and contrast stuff, and we increased saturation. So, but the goal, so with the incorrect visual, and this is something that I think a lot of people will get incorrect when they're doing like flashes and like anything where you're applying one color to something, is they're like, oh, it just needs to be one color and I'll slap it on like a sticker or a LUT. And with this, like you can see, it's not just, I'm not just slapping red on, like I'm not just going solid color. And then, oh my gosh, this is massive. Here we go. So I'm not just going solid color, red, and then, you know, dragging this down and doing like add or something. Because this looks very different than this. This is like globally applied. What I was trying to do was affect the red levels of everything relative to what its color already was. So you can see the green, like this is no opacity adjustments. The green isn't getting pushed a ton to red, but this lighter area, less green, is getting pushed more to red. This is more red, so it gets pushed to be more red. So the more red something is, or basically I'm just adding red to everything. But it's but I'm not just pasting one level of red over top of everything like this. So boom versus boom. Right, and I could change this from add to normal. Bring this down a bit. But again, it's just not the same. What camera are you using? Your videos look so professional. Even the split tone in the background is looking nice. Thank you. I'm about to blow your mind here a little bit because the camera I'm using can't even shoot in 60 frames a second. I'm using the Canon 80D. Old camera. I can't even modify it. I would mod this camera if I could. Anyone who knows about Magic Lantern knows it's like a really cool mod, like camera modding tool. But yeah, so this is Canon 80D, just good old-fashioned normal camera, f2.8 lens, and then in the background, that's like an actual like key light with a blue binder cover thrown over top of it, like one of those binder like color separators, and then we have, you can't see it, but that's just a basic lamp, a basic colored like yellow bulb, and then I've thrown a t-shirt, or I've turned the lampshade upside down so it acts more as a spotlight, and then I threw a t-shirt over it to diffuse. So we're getting creative. We're not a super expensive studio over here. We get creative with it, but like it ends up looking nice. I was very, very happy with how that ended up looking. Then we have a light there and it's just like soft white bed sheet to diffuse. We've got a light here which you can't see, but it's on top of my monitor, and then I got one more fill light. So here we go. Let me turn off all the lighting real quick for the front, and then you'll be able to see the 3-point lighting setup. Are you ready? Not about money. It serves the, yeah. It's oh yeah. Listen, you can set up like using like an iPhone and like a dollar store mount. I think that's what I used to do way back in the day, and I had like a little bit of latency problems, but I mean that's right. Use what you got. So we got the backlighting. We have this is the little like other key light or fill light. We've got the soft lighting from the side, and it's like it's a very slight difference. Oops. It's a very slight difference, but it's noticeable once I have this light on. So this is the key light, and then we have this as the fill light, and that's, you can see, it fills in like right here. It's a little triangle area. Oop, helps to fill that in, get like a little bit of here. So there's that. Give a glint to the headphones too. That's nice to help separate or help define the subject. And then we have, last but not least, so you can see my eyes, because that was a huge thing. I was like, I'm talking to you guys, you can't even see my eyes. So that's why we added this. And this is supposed to be a white light. It's a little bit more blue than I would like, but it works perfectly as a fill light. I've still got kind of the two-tone thing going, kind of like what you were saying, split tone. And yeah, that's the lighting setup. And like honestly, learning about lighting will do you so much better than like, you know, spending hundreds of dollars on lights. That light, the big fill light over there, is a light bulb. This is a $5 light I got from Dollarama, and between the blue light and that light, I got them as a pair for like $100 in 2020 or 2021. So divide $100 over the cost, or over like 5-6 years, it's like $20. So like you really don't need a ton. You just got to know kind of how to use your stuff. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap up the stream here. I'm gonna, you know, as the kids say, I'm going to lock in a little bit and get some work done where I can just kind of think through some of this, and then I'll post some clips in the Discord. I'll show you guys some before and after stuff. But yeah, thank you everyone so much for coming. Thank you so much for hanging out, you know, asking questions. Hopefully you learned some cool stuff. You got to see some of the behind the scenes. I would love to do like a just chatting stream where I can talk about or I can like have a video where I have the raw footage on one timeline and I have the fully edited video on another timeline, and then I can just talk through some of the decisions I made, and then also do like some thumbnail entitling streams. That'd be really cool. But yeah, another time perhaps. In the meantime, I'm back streaming after a month. So I don't know when the next stream is going to be, but I look forward to seeing you guys again. So thank you everyone so much for watching, and I will see you in the next stream. Cheers.